Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to turn off the projection system so that you're not staring into the light? No, turn around. It's the console behind you, the top button on the left. System power. Okay. All right. Count down, and I will start for you. 3,
2, 1.
Starting.
Okay. Our group, we are Marxist Painters, Fishers and Mariners, and the Butchers. But the play we chose was The Death of Christ, and that was actually underneath the Butchers realm. And this is our poster that we made.
And we kind of designed it to look like an interview, like, you know, when a CBS interview is coming on, like the posters for like advertising for you to watch that.
And I play the character of Joanna, who is our TV show host. She kind of has like an Ellen DeGeneres type personality, so we figured that this was a very fitting scene for her. And we did like the Monday night at ABC and stuff like that, just to have like an advertisement type feel.
So the genre we chose to adopt our play into like a news documentary sort of style, kind of like a 60 minutes. So one of the main changes we made are we put some interviews with one of the characters kind of in the past, talking about what had already happened at the death of Christ. And we also updated the language of the play to a more modern style than what it used to be.
Right, and the reason we chose the genre as a whole was because we didn't want to create a mockery, especially with such a harsh, death of Christ theme, and using a documentary what felt like a good way to do that. And a big part of that also was trying to avoid the stereotype of a boring documentary. So having this sort of personal post and cutting relatively quickly between scenes and not having long drawn out scenes was a good way to convey a quick, fast-paced, and relatively engaging.
You done? Okay.
Do you want to keep the posters, or just after the
Yeah. It's a turn.
Do you want me to roll it up?
That would be great.
It's so smooth. I'm just like sticking it. You guys can see on
Waiting for the projector. Okay, we are the Colors, and we chose to adapt the conspiracy into a political crime drama. And we chose to do this because these dramas are pretty popular right now, and it was really easy for us to incorporate kind of the plot themes in the play. Like, we chose Pilate, Caiaphas, and Annas to be a mayor and his supporters, and Jesus was kind of a newcomer politician who posed a threat, and Judas was the informant who turned in her boss.
Other than changing the genre of our play, our biggest adaptive change was changing it from Old English to modern text, and that was for the ease of the audience and because it would fit the genre better if a mayor and his supporters weren't talking Old English. And we chose the ease of understanding similarly to how in the Middle Ages they performed the text in Older English for the ease of their audience as well.
When we were brainstorming before filming, we put special effort into planning out the costumes, the settings, and the props, because those are very important to convey to the viewer the genre that we're going for.
We chose to do a trailer as a promotional item, and we felt that it demonstrated the political drama genre that we chose to do, and we just included important scenes and included some dramatic music to really demonstrate the genre.
I was destined to be mayor of this town.
Actually, sir, we have a situation we need to look into.
What seems to be the problem? Is there any crime wave rising? Has there been a theft? Who do we need to squash?
I can help Mayor Paul.
Shut up and stop arguing.
I mean, we just have to be sure that you don't double cross us.
Judy, do you agree?
I do.
We'd like to thank you for watching our film and trailer, and we hope we conveyed our adaptation effectively. As with any adaptation, our goal was just to keep the popular and old concepts, but in a newer interpretation. Regardless of the mode of delivery, whether it be play or film, or the topic of issue from religious leaders to political leaders, the conspiracy's underlying plot and meaning has not changed from when we did this film to how it was done back in the older days. Thank you.
Okay, countdown.
So 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we are the Marshall's Listers, and we chose to adapt the Marshall's play Flight into Egypt as a soap opera titled The Lost Heart Found. We felt that the soap opera was the best way to convey the York Cycle's relatability to its audience. So York Cycle was meant to be something performed by the people, put on by the people, for the people. And we felt that the soap opera also employed this sort of relatability construct. So soap operas, back when they started, were actually meant to be commercials that showed like a slice of life of somebody using some product, and then the viewer would be like, oh hey, that's also my life, I want to use that product too. So in that sense, soap operas are meant to relate to the public, just like York Cycle. So to keep to the soap opera conventions, we did a couple things in our soap opera. We kept to indoor sets mainly. We used some wide view shots so that the viewers got the full picture of the slice of life. We also used some dramatic music in the beginning and the end, and we did a couple things to keep to some of the stereotypical soap opera cliches. So we involved like the gossiping wife, the gambling husband, and we also did the involvement with organized crime. So,
when we constructed this adaptation, we translated the text and studied it together, but we didn't create an actual script to follow when we filmed because we thought that following a script would make us kind of nervous since we aren't really actors, and it would betray some of the more genuine emotions that we could give to our performance. So the entirety of our video is improv pretty much.
As for the setting, our soap opera is based in the 1950s time period, so for the setting of Joseph and Mary's house, we used Emily's house because Emily's house is kind of old-fashioned and it's in a suburban neighborhood, so it kind of characterizes that as a middle-class family in the soap opera. And we also used a abandoned staircase as in Herod's murder scene because it kind of characterizes Herod as a bad character. And for costumes, we just used a princess in a suit for Joseph and Mary because that is also kind of characterizing them as a middle class. And we used Herod with a black dress and pearls, so it could characterize her as like a rich mafia boss who's daunting. And for Gabriel, who was an undercover cop here, we got an overcoat, which was like a stereotypical outfit for like a detective or an undercover cop.
When it came to editing,
Just carry on, finish up.
Okay, for editing, we used Final Cut Pro, the editing software, and it was very helpful. You can edit all your music, all of the transitions, you know, getting the videos is very nice. We used some of our background tracks, like 55 minutes long, and we were able to cut it down really, really easily and effectively. So, yeah, we tried to make sure when we were filming that we kept the scenes like, you know, we didn't want to move the camera that much, because that's not, if you watch soap operas on TV, it's not really part of the convention. You know, we had to, our cameras weren't that wide of the scope, so we had to make up for that a little bit, but that's what the goal was.
Thank you.
System power on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Three, two, one. So we are the Pewters and Founders, and we did the play Joseph's Trouble About Mary, and here's our trailer.
The genre we chose to adapt Joseph's Trouble About Mary was dramatic comedy. Obviously, we showed some like dramatic clips with this trailer. Like we had slow motion head turns and yeah, just like a lot of like the music was really dramatic in this trailer. And then with the comedy, we kind of just showed clips that kind of like ended in laughter, so that the audience would know that it's something to be to be funny about, to like that's comedic.
Yeah, the reason we tried to include a comedic element was mainly so that when it could relate to the audience. Also, there was a little bit of that in the original play. When we sort of asked Dr. Johnson on maybe how the best way to approach a comedy was, she kind of told us it had to have a purpose. So we decided that trust in a relationship and how Joseph should have trusted Mary was sort of the comedic goal, per se.
Yeah, and it with the purpose, it acts as like a commentary on relationships in general. You know, the whole trust thing. It adds a universality / relatability to the play.
Yeah.
And we chose to do a dramatic comedy because we felt that a dramatic element of comedy would help us to like really highlight the conflict between characters in the plot line. Since we felt that that was kind of the most important part of the play was the conflict.
We chose to modernize our play because we felt if we modernized it, it would relate better with our audience. And if it was all in Old English, it wouldn't be funny as much. We can offer. We also chose to change the maidens to Mary's best friend to make it more relatable.
Storyline seemed a little ridiculous. God was like maybe okay with destroying the entire world, and every time God told Noah to do something, he was like, "Oh, okay, you want me to build the giant ship? Perfect." So, in the scripting of that, we tried to bring out that kind of ridiculousness. We made God like extremely nonchalant about blowing up the entire planet.
And he always spoke really, really casually. And then instead of having Noah agree to everything, we had Noah object to most of the things at first. And I mean, he was willing to do it, but he sort of called out God for his ridiculous idea of destroying the planet. He wasn't okay with spending the rest of his life with a bunch of animals. So, yeah.
So we carried this whole thing out using kind of like the Office type thing. So we had a serious office scene with obviously unserious dialogue, and just we cut it into scenes in the middle of it. And we just went for that whole kind of feel where it's generally like a serious kind of filming and everything, but the dialogue tells you otherwise, that it's actually not really serious at all.
Yeah, so in the editing we use iMovie, and what we really wanted to do was have like an action scene for like the office parts and stuff like that, and then have a static interview scene where there's only like one frame, but then the only thing that would change is what the person would be saying. So like that kind of gives the audience like a shot of what the characters are doing, but then in the interview scenes it's like a shot of what they're thinking about. So like gives you a nice synthesis of everything that you need.
So as far as like setting and technical details of props and costumes, we filmed in a room in the club because it was somewhat office-like. And we gave the president 3 computers on his desk to make him seem like really powerful. He had all these nuclear tools at his fingertips, so to speak. And then obviously wearing a suit because he's the president, and sunglasses to kind of make him less accessible and more serious. And then the rest of the costume was pretty self-explanatory, I think.
Was that our last group?